In this video, we will be counting down the top 5 worst endings to Attack on Titan. We'll start with number 5. Number 5th worst ending, and the scary part is that these are all possibilities, is that it's a predictable ending. Something that's not exactly so predictable that it's obvious, but predictable enough that you hope it's not this, but it is. So, number 5 would be that Eren saves the day and he kills all the Titans along with the rest of the crew, and they help humanity survive and live on. Now, that's probably what I think most of readers who watch it think it is, because guess what? It's a very lovey-dovey type ending, and a lot of readers seem to be kind of naive in their thinking. They seem to think that Attack on Titan is it has simple endings to it, which is far from what the actual story proves it to be. So that would be a horrible ending in my opinion, based off how great it is and all its plot twists so far. So I'm still surprised how many people still think that. Number 4, another horrible ending to Attack on Titan would be if it was a expected plot twist. So for number 4, it would be the fact that, oh, guess what? The Titans were the good guys and everything was for naught. Now, this is not exactly the most predictable ending, number 5 is, but this is probably the second most predictable ending to anyone who has a little bit more brains and actually thinks things through and appreciates and understands the plot twist. So this would be the most obvious upcoming plot twist compared to just a happy ending. And I would definitely find this very off-putting because it's been done so many times and it just seems so obvious. Like, each time there's a flashback or a emotional scene where all you see is Eren, crying or thinking about how his parents died or humanity dies, and says, "How could you do this to us?" and starts, shouting at one of the evil Titans, one of the evil people who can transform into Titans. I just think of this most likely ending. That's, guess what? These Titans were actually doing the greater good, kind of like Itachi in Naruto or the movie Watchmen, where I don't want to spoil anything, but they took on the mantle of bad guys simply to uphold the greater good. It's also the theme to the Dark Knight trilogy, the film series about Batman. And I mean, it can be so easily explained. It would pretty much be that, the top Titans had to control the humans, or they had to keep the humans, from killing each other, or there's a population growth problem. So they had to come up with this false facade of Titans to herd humans. So the whole thing, all this fighting and conspiracy was for naught. They were actually doing a better thing. In fact, it's a very, very common theme. If you're a science fiction reader at all, for any newborn child, it's amazing and new. But trust me, it's so overdone. Doctor Who is a very well-known television series in Britain, and they've done that like 5 times on Doctor Who. The list goes on. Number 3, the third most worst ending in Attack on Titan is if a lot of the supporting characters or the main character dies. I mean, that's cool and stuff, but again, I would rather not. I don't think it would be some type of shocking plot twister. Oftentimes people do that to, really pack some emotional impact or surprise or shock in the reader. Kind of like Harry Potter. For the first 4 or 5 books, it was kind of lovey-dovey and no one good actually died. And then J.K. Rowling decided to do some things and shift it up. But I think that only kind of works for things where you don't expect it. I do think this author is capable of this, but I'd rather not. I know he's capable, and I don't want you to use it. It's kind of like if someone has a gun and you know he has the mentality to pull the trigger, you just don't want him to. There's a lot of other manga, however, where no single character dies. They'll fake a death, and then in like 2 chapters later, they'll bring them back, and it's the stupidest crap ever. Cough, cough, fairy tale. Number 2. Second worst ending in Attack on Titan is if they fail in their mission to expose everything. That would just be the most horrible thing ever. You know, if it just ended like, I guess we'll never know what the mystery was. Obviously, that would never happen. But you know, it really brings out the bigger discussion. You know, stop worrying about stuff like this, because guess what? The author's making money from this, and he knows if he continues this, you know, how most storylines go. And trust me, if you watch enough television shows, enough, you know, dramatic series, award-winning series like Lost or whatever, it's oftentimes the same theme. They keep it running and they expose more and more, but then they add more and more mystery, just to keep it going, because guess what? They're making a lot of money off of this. You know, that's how you keep the money flowing in. Obviously, you want to make the story as great as you can, but when money gets into the issue, which it always does, that ends up happening. The number one worst thing that could occur as an ending on Attack on Titan is probably if it just ended abruptly. Now, stuff like this has actually occurred before, and you know, there was a big scare a few times when a very well-known anime and manga called D-Gray-man was put on a very long hiatus, many years in fact, because the author was very, very sick. And you know, people were scared that the author would die, and you know, that would be it for the anime. Now, this is actually a scary possibility. You know, it's not a highly probable one, but it's highly, not highly, but it's possible. Because guess what? Everyone who creates these amazing universes are humans. And when it comes to the world of manga or anime, oftentimes they're one man or one woman shows. So you get the point. Like, these things occur, and more so than just occurring, you know, it's a tragedy. But the world doesn't owe it to you to keep you alive. There's been plenty of genius prodigy writers and creators, musicians and authors who died in the middle of a composition, from Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart to people more modern day. So that's all I gotta say. And can anyone tell me why Aaron's ears are so pointy as a Titan? Like, he's the only guy with pointy ears. I mean, I guess the author can do whatever he wants, but whatever. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.